Welcome to our TV studio here at Baku at COP29. We're in the middle of things here in the media center, very close to the negotiation rooms in the plenary session.
Today we'll talk about exponential transition plans for net zero businesses, try to find the blueprint for networks, and hear about positive tipping stories on energy and transport.
And just in a few minutes, we'll be introducing some very interesting guests here in our studio. But first, I'd like to turn to Ingmar Rentzhog, CEO and co-founder of We Don't Have Time. You've been pushing a campaign called Buy More Time. Please tell us a bit about this.
Yes, so we are kind of late stage climate crisis here. And we have heard for many, many years at those COP meetings that we need to halve the emission before the year 2030. That was kind of a hopeful message when we were in Glasgow in the beginning of I think it was 2021, but now we are soon 2025, and we have not even begun to decrease the emission. It's kind of started flat out globally. So time is running out, and we, in order to stay under 1.5 degree and don't pass it too much, we need to focus on things that can get very, very fast results. And that's the Buy More Time initiative all about. There's actually a solution that can bring down the temperature up to 0.5 degrees in just some years, starting to do that. And that is if we stop emitting short-lived climate gases, like methane and others. The difference between short-lived climate gases and long-lived climate gases like carbon dioxide is that it's only up in the atmosphere for a couple of years instead of up to 1,000 years. That means that we don't need to remove it in order to get it out from the atmosphere. We just need to stop releasing it. And I just heard previous today an incredibly interesting keynote of former Vice President Al Gore, where he and a lot of other partners have launched a data initiative where we now can see emissions all around the world, exactly where they are, and we know where to, stop emitting, including carbon dioxide, methane, and others. So we will have the data. Now you need the political will. So if you go to wedon'time.org/buymore-time, you can read more about it, and you can contribute and sign up if you like it.
Well, this is really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exciting. There is this whole network now building, isn't there, of traceability, accountability, satellites, handheld stuff. Incredible. So it really is nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, as that song said, by somebody.
And Ingmar, you delivered a very strong speech about methane at the Tech Arena event in Stockholm recently. Let's watch this.
This is the climate crisis today. We're kind of leaning backwards. And the more emission we put up there, the more we're leaning it. But we can still do this, right? The problem, if we pass 1.5 degree, and we're very near, we're kind of there, but if we stay there and we just keep going up, there is a big, big risk of hitting a tipping point. And when we hit a tipping point, this share will be very, very hard to put back up. So this is what we must avoid for the climate. And we have a cure for this. The only thing we need in order to make it is more time. We need to buy more time. And now we feel the resistance from the politicians. But when we're up here, they will not resist the green transition because the green transition are the majority. So the policy will change when the technology changes, but we need more time. So how can we get more time? The problem with carbon dioxide, when we emit it, it will go up. And it will stay up there for up to 1,000 years. Maybe we can kind of try to remove it, but it looks kind of hard to do it, very expensive. Methane is another greenhouse gas. It's a very common greenhouse gas. It's the second biggest contributor to global warming. And there's a big difference between methane and carbon dioxide. When we release this, it comes down again. on average 12 years. It's a big difference between 1,000 years, 12 years. So the solution here is that we need to stop emit methane. And if we do that, we can actually reverse global warming with up to 0.5 degrees. That is the time we need to do everything else, because we still need to stop the carbon dioxide. So this is great news. And where does this methane come from? This is one of the sources. Bananas. Waste, food waste. 20% of methane emission comes from waste. But guess what? When I arrived here this morning, I took the bus, and the bus in Sweden, in Stockholm, are powered with bioenergy. We don't emit hardly any methane from waste. So other countries can do the same. 45% from methane comes from the fossil fuel industry. And this is a lot of emission that is really easy to fix. It's just fix the pipe. Cows are burping 4 times every 5 minutes. Agriculture adds up to 40% of the methane emissions. Many companies working on this, where you have a food additive, and you give that to the cows, and they burp up to 80% less. So what do we need? We need to look at the fridge. All the fridges we had when I was a kid were powered by a dangerous gas. And when that was released up in the air, it was destroying the ozone layer. If we hadn't fixed it, we will not be able to walk outside today and show naked skin. But we're not doing that, because the industry, the manufacturers of the fridges, the chemical companies, and bold world leaders met in Montreal, where they decided to ban freons, phase it out, put the funding behind it, and today we have perfectly fresh food and we don't use freon anymore. Isn't it great? It saved humanity once, so we can do it twice. And there is one more thing. This year, in Mars, there was a new satellite launched that is called the methane satellite. And it will measure open data where we have emission from methane, leakage, and we will know exactly where we need to fix the problem. We don't have that for any other climate gases, but we have it for methane. So a legal system, some funding, and the data is everything we need. And this is what Buy More Time is all about. We can do this.